Hello everyone and welcome to a new video where I'm going to discuss my hopes and kind of preview the new Cyberpunk expansion called Phantom Liberty coming in 2023. I'm very excited about this expansion, so I'm going to jump right into this. I'm going to have the trailer run for you in the background so you can see what we have so far, but this trailer has shown that it's going to be very focused on the new USA and by extension Militech, because they're kind of one and the same. A lot of Militech CEOs and executives become president of the NUSA or members of Congress or just generally influential. So it's kind of like Arasaka in Japan. The main game really focused heavily on Arasaka, and I think we're going to get that kind of treatment from Militech here. At least that's what I'm hoping. And it's also a really interesting time for us to focus on the NUSA because about 7 years ago, about 2070, the Unification War ended. This was a very big moment for the NUSA where they pretty much went to war against most of the Pacific Northwest, Texas, and Northern California. So a lot of things kind of shifted here, and they regained almost everything except for Texas. There's some states that are semi-independent still, but most of the states have been reclaimed by the NUSA up this point. And Night City was in the NUSA's sites to be reclaimed and be no longer independent, but the mayor actually welcomed Arasaka back in 2070, which kind of held them at bay because they weren't ready for a large-scale conflict with Arasaka, even though Arasaka had been funding the Free States. So at this point in time, the only truly independent cities and states are the Republic of Texas and Night City. So they just got most of their territory back, and I'm sure they're looking to have Night City and maybe Texas back, so we might see some of that. But this really gives us a good opportunity to go outside of Night City for the first time. I don't think we'll spend a ton of time outside of Night City because Night City is such a great setting for the game. They'd be silly not to spend a good amount of time in it. But there's a really high potential to see the world outside of Night City, which I am very, very excited for. There is a lot we could see of how corrupt the NUSA is because they've confirmed in the trailer. The audio kind of has V going through her speech, but you hear Keanu Reeves saying taking this oath is a very poor decision. So Johnny Silverhand will be back with us, and his past is very complicated at the NUSA. He defected in the Nicaraguan and Mexican conflict. I have a video about Johnny Silverhand coming out this week that goes more into that. But so he is not an NUSA fan, and he doesn't like Militech. So it's going to be a lot of interesting dialogue there. Now, while they're pretty much overtly saying that we're going to be spending a lot of time with the NUSA, another thing I'm kind of hoping for is more discussion of AI and all the rogue AIs outside the black wall. If you remember from the missions with the Voodoo Boys, they keep talking about piercing the black wall and how it's an AI to keep all of the other AIs out. They poke a lot of holes in that wall, and we speak to people from outside of it, so we might be seeing more AI. To keep it mostly spoiler free, we see a couple NPCs that are heavily thought that are AI controlled, like Mr. Blue Eyes. If you want to learn more about him, I would definitely play the Paralysis quests. There's a lot of interesting information with them here, but I'm hoping we're seeing AI, and a lot of the theories online are saying that we're going to see more AI talk, which is something that's super, super interesting to me because they don't give us a ton in the game about it, but it sounds like the world was pretty much being destroyed by AIs at some point. So I'm sure there's hundreds and hundreds of them just being barely held back by the black wall, and maybe the NUSA is using some of them. But AI is something I'm very interested in, and also just to see what the political climate is outside of Night City, because obviously Night City's independent. We have multiple corps fighting over control of the city economically, but realistically, it's a free city with a couple factions. Now, the NUSA had just reclaimed their territory, most of it. Are we going to see another corporate war? Are we going to see a war between nations? Because this would be about the fifth corporate war at this point, if not the sixth. I believe it's the fifth. So there's a lot of options here, and it's really interesting to see where V comes into this. Because are we using V as like a double agent? Is she now directly working for the NUSA? Are we going to be an agent of the NUSA? It's very interesting to see how they're going to take this, because taking an oath in the trailer makes me think that they're going to do something for us and we are now indebted to them, or we're just making a choice to work for them. I don't. That doesn't really fit for V or Johnny. I would say I don't think we would just choose to work for them for no reason. So I'm wondering to see what this does to benefit V and why she's willing to take an oath to serve the NUSA after all the bad and V going back to Atlanta as a street kid. She goes back to Atlanta and didn't like it. So it's very interesting to see what we're gonna see out of the DLC when it comes to V and the NUSA. All right, and to kind of put it together a little bit of a wish list here, I really hope that we have some of our relationships and established things we've done in the first game influence how people see us. I hope there's dialogue with like the four companions, whether it's Judy, Panam, Carrie, River, any of those. I hope there's some play with them. I don't know if that'll happen because sometimes in The Witcher you had a little bit of that, but mostly it was kind of like a new area and you kind of started fresh. So I'm wondering if they're going to take the same approach they took with The Witcher, which, if they do, means we get a new playable area that we can explore and basically new relationships to form. Another wish list would be just more iconic weapons. I'm sure we're going to get a ton of them, so I'm not super worried about that one. And if I had a really out there one, I would hope that we have a way to travel from multiple cities. Hopefully they give us 2 other cities we can go to, or 3, and we can decide which city we want to travel to and from. I'm not expecting a massive open world, but kind of like The Witcher did, where you select your area on the map and you can play in that open world. I think there's a lot of potential here, and I think this will be a great indicator of how they're developing Cyberpunk moving forward. Because Phantom Liberty, I think, will be the absolute best test to see what we're going to get out of the sequel. Because the launch did not go well of this game, obviously, but they've made the game so much better. They consistently add things, and they have more patches coming. Apparently 1.7 is going to have an NCPD rework with max tack and everything included, so you're going to be able to get chased by them, and max tack supposedly is going to fly in on their AVs like they did in the beginning missions. So this is a great opportunity to CD Projekt Red to earn back more Cyberpunk trust, because while people who've been here since day one, like myself, that played the game and have been kind of in and out of it since, we're pretty much locked in and ready to go. Like, I'm very excited. I'm going to get this expansion pretty much no matter what. But I know there's a lot of people that are still kind of like, the game was a buggy mess, and I'm not sure if I want to get back into it, because it's people I know personally just don't see the game the same way I did because they weren't able to play it. So this is a huge opportunity for CD Projekt Red to kind of say, hey, we're back, and get ready for the next one. Because I'm hoping we get this in the beginning half of 2023. That'd be my bet, that we'll see it around summer. Hopefully it don't make us wait until fall. But either way, I'm just ready for it, and I'm excited for next year. I hope you're excited for Cyberpunk's first and sadly only expansion. But I have more Cyberpunk content coming, along with a variety of other things. I have a House of the Dragons review and more content on that, a Black Panther Wakanda Forever review coming, and I'll be covering Modern Warfare 2 as well. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, please subscribe, leave me a like, and I hope to see you next time.